The Philippines has always been described as an archipelago exposed to the sea but unable to control it. For decades, Manila relied on patrol boats and second-hand frigates, unable to shape events beneath the waves. That reality may soon change. Under Horizon 3, the Armed Forces of the Philippines is pushing for the acquisition of its first submarines. Two offers dominate the debate: France's Scorpène class and South Korea's DSME1400, also known as the KSS-II. This choice is not just about steel and torpedoes. It is about what kind of Navy the Philippines wants to build and how it intends to balance deterrence, alliances, and budgets in the years to come. The strategic logic for submarines is clear. The South China Sea is crowded, contested, and vulnerable to surface surveillance. China has spent decades building artificial islands, deploying Coast Guard cutters, and rotating PLA Navy flotillas through disputed waters. The Philippines has responded with new frigates and BrahMos coastal defense batteries, but these are visible and predictable assets. Submarines, on the other hand, offer stealth, unpredictability, and the power to complicate an adversary's calculus. Even a handful of modern diesel-electric boats can force a stronger Navy to devote disproportionate resources to anti-submarine warfare. In a region where Vietnam already fields 6 Kilo-class submarines, Indonesia operates the Nagapasa class, and Malaysia deploys 2 Scorpenes, the Philippines is arguably arriving late to the game, but late is better than never. France's offer centers on the Scorpène, a proven export design. The boat measures around 61 to 67 meters in length, displaces about 1,600 tons, and carries a mix of torpedoes and Exocet anti-ship missiles. With the optional Mesma air-independent propulsion system, the Scorpène can stay submerged for weeks rather than days, giving it endurance well beyond the baseline of a conventional diesel submarine. Paris highlights the success of the design in Brazil, India, Chile, and Malaysia. Each of these navies has integrated the Scorpène into their fleets, with varying degrees of local construction and technology transfer. For the Philippines, France offers not only the submarines themselves, but also a broader package of training, simulators, and industrial participation. Manila has long dreamed of reviving a domestic shipbuilding capacity. A Scorpène deal could offer at least a modest step in that direction. South Korea's proposal comes from a different angle. The DSME1400 is based on the German Type 209 design, stretched and modified for Korean needs. These boats measure roughly 56 to 61 meters, displace about 1,200 tons, and carry torpedoes with optional harpoon missiles. While less advanced than the Scorpène in terms of endurance and silence, the KSS-II is reliable, cost-effective, and backed by a country that already supplies the bulk of the Philippine Navy's surface fleet. The Jose Rizal-class frigates were built by Hyundai Heavy Industries. The forthcoming Corvette program will again involve South Korean yards. Choosing the DSME1400 would therefore reinforce an existing relationship, allowing training pipelines, logistics, and maintenance to share common routes. For a Navy that has only begun to professionalize its surface fleet, this kind of continuity may prove more valuable than exotic features. Cost will inevitably weigh heavily on the decision. A Scorpène package could approach or exceed $1 billion for 2 boats, depending on configuration and support. The DSME1400, by contrast, is likely to be several $100 million cheaper, with shorter delivery times and lower sustainment costs. The Philippine defense budget has grown, but Horizon 3 must also cover fighters, air defense systems, and land modernization. A single overly ambitious program risks crowding out others. Supporters of the Korean option argue that it offers a realistic path toward getting submarines into the water within the decade without bankrupting other priorities. Advocates of the French path counter that submarines are not purchased often, and when they are, it is better to buy the more capable design, even if it means stretching resources. Politics are never far from such choices. A Scorpène deal would bring the Philippines closer to France, and by extension, the European defense ecosystem. It would signal Manila's intent to diversify away from near-exclusive dependence on the United States and South Korea. For Paris, a contract in Southeast Asia would reinforce its Indo-Pacific strategy, already visible in New Caledonia and naval patrols in the South China Sea. By contrast, choosing the DSME1400 would deepen ties with Seoul, a country that has consistently supported the Philippines with credit lines, concessional financing, and long-term defense cooperation. Korea is also seen as politically less complicated than European suppliers, with fewer restrictions on arms transfers and more willingness to adjust to Manila's requirements. The diplomatic ripple effects of the decision may prove as important as the tactical performance of the boats themselves. From a military standpoint, the Scorpène's endurance and stealth are highly attractive. Being able to lurk near choke points, track Chinese surface action groups, or even threaten logistics lines would provide a level of deterrence the Philippines has never possessed. The KSS-II lacks some of that endurance, but for coastal defense and short patrols in the West Philippine Sea, it would still represent a quantum leap over the current force. Training requirements also matter. Crewing submarines is not just about sailors. It is about creating a cadre of officers, engineers, and logisticians who can sustain operations for decades. South Korea can offer training pipelines that align with existing Philippine Navy cooperation. France can offer advanced doctrine and simulator facilities. Either path will require enormous cultural adaptation for a Navy accustomed to surface patrols. Looking further ahead, the first Philippine submarines will shape not only force structure, but also strategy. If Manila invests in Scorpenes with AIP, it may be tempted to build a more expeditionary posture, with longer patrols and more complex missions. If it chooses the KSS-II, the focus may remain on coastal defense and symbolic deterrence. Both choices have merit. Both carry risks. A Scorpène fleet could become a financial albatross if sustainment exceeds expectations. A DSME fleet could become obsolete, just as China deploys more advanced anti-submarine warfare platforms. Either way, Manila will need to pair any submarine purchase with investments in sonar arrays, maritime patrol aircraft, and undersea infrastructure to make those boats effective. Submarines do not operate in isolation. They are part of a system. In the end, the decision comes down to the Philippines' vision of itself. Is the goal to field a Navy capable of credible undersea deterrence against a peer competitor, even at the cost of greater expense and dependence on European technology? Or is the goal to acquire a practical, affordable stepping stone that builds experience while aligning with existing partners? The answer will define not just the shape of the fleet, but also the country's strategic identity in the Indo-Pacific. For now, Manila faces a choice between a French Scorpène and a Korean KSS-II. But at a deeper level, it is choosing between ambition and pragmatism, between prestige and practicality. Whatever the outcome, the Philippines is finally taking the plunge beneath the waves, and the region will be watching closely.